Let's get started. So welcome everybody. This is Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call with Microsoft speakers, which happens every single Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, like today. Today is May 20th. My name is Sasa Juvonen. I'm a Principal Product Manager for Microsoft. And welcome everybody to this awesome call. I almost just dropped the light from the ceiling. That was fun. Anyway, one more thing, clicking over there so I can actually move on the slides. So here we go. And today we'll have a really typical setup on the content. So we'll go through some of the updates and some of the things what has happened within the community and of the assets. There's always new people within this call every single week. So we want to make sure that everybody understands all of the different things which are already available, which you can take advantage. And then we'll go a quick recap on latest news across Microsoft Blocks, and then a group picture with Together mode. And then we go to the actual stars of the day, who are Paolo and Sudipta. So Paolo is going to talk about custom engine agents for Microsoft Teams. So we're going to talk about what does it mean that it's in Teams, or what does it mean that it's in Copilot. And then Sudipta is going to talk about their SharePoint Hackathon submission from March, which was the winning submission on the SharePoint agent category. So that's the second demo of today. We only have 2 demos today, which means that there is no immediate rush, which is really good as well. Now, we do have a lot of assets available for you to get started on Microsoft 365 on Power Platform. We have the YouTube channel, and if you're wondering, yes, all of our community calls are being recorded like this one, and they're getting published within that YouTube channel within 24 hours, including all of the demos and everything else. And there's a lot of additional other content there as well. There's multiple organizations using that channel. We do have our LinkedIn page and a group. We do have a lot of open source assets across the GitHub organizations, but as it might be a bit difficult to find a relevant sample for you, we have these sample galleries, which are then aggregating information from those GitHub repo locations to make it easy for you to consume them. Right now, there's a bit of a technical issue within the sample gallery, which we're working on, but that's only happening today. So we'll get all of that sorted out for sure. And you find all of these URLs and much more assets from AKMS Community Home Community or community.ms. Both goes to the same location in GitHub. Now, we do have quite a few of these calls, and this is the Tuesday 8 a.m. Pacific time call, which is with Microsoft presenters, with certain exceptions like today. So what it means is that we have product group, product managers, cloud advocates, and so on presenting in here. Again, the exception today is that we're having the SharePoint Hackathon winner in the call, and we have few of these hackathon winners from the Powerful Devs Hackathon and SharePoint Hackathon coming up on these calls also throughout the spring within upcoming weeks. On top of this Tuesday call, we also have Power Platform and Office Silence monthly community calls, and then our 7 a.m. Thursday series, which is either Microsoft 365 Power Platform community call, like this week, or the Vivo Connection SharePoint Framework bi-weekly call as well. Now, coming back on this call, which is the 8 a.m. Pacific time, every single Tuesday on July and August, like called out within the slide, and this call will have a community takeover. And what it means is that community will actually take over and hosting of this call during July and August. So typically in past, we've been having a break in July and August within this call. But this year, we don't want to do that because we have such a massive demand for all of the different demos coming from community members, MVPs, and so on. So that's happening then on Tuesday. So no breaks on the call, which is awesome as well. You can actually download all of the recurrent invites as AKM community calls, and the meetup service is great as well to see the agenda details for all of the calls advance. Now, for a lot of these calls, we do welcome community presenters. So Tuesday call primarily Microsoft presenters, but a lot of the calls community presenters. Everybody is welcome. So if you build anything, if you feel that you have a story to tell, please sign up for the community call demo. This is a great way for you to find exposure or share your learnings with other people in a community. It doesn't have to be open source. It might be getting started with Power Apps. Guess what? There are people who that do not know how to get started with Power Apps, as an example, or Power Automate. So every single one of us has a unique story to tell, and you are welcome to share that story in these community calls, even multiple times. Well, not the same story, but different stories multiple times as well. There's a lot of people who've done that. We do have a lot of getting started assets on the Microsoft Cloud. I just updated these numbers. We do have 99 learning modules for M365, and we have 122 learn modules for Power Platform. So please take advantage of learn.microsoft.com. A lot of free assets over there. I already mentioned the sample galleries. We have more than 2,300 samples from Microsoft and community in a one centralized location. So you don't have to search across multiple repos and locations, organizations in GitHub. You go to AKMS community samples, use the search, and voila, you find the relevant sample for you. If you are stuck with something or you want to have a look on the inspiration, great location to do that. Now, as you find the sample, you might be wondering hey, wait a minute, this is in GitHub. I have no idea what it means. Or you might be wondering that, wait a minute, we had that cool sample. I want to contribute back. How would I do that? And that's what the Sharing is Caring initiative is there to solve. And directly from LA, our Sharing is Caring leader of the gang, right? David is going to talk about what this is all about.
Yes, but I'm just one of the team, Vesa. So thank you very much, everybody. So we just had a Sharing is Caring session yesterday. We are. Everybody on the call. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
We just had a session yesterday. It was fantastic. It was great. We worked with members of the community, and we've already scheduled the next one. As I mentioned, we're trying to be more proactive in getting them regularly on the calendar. So this happens just a couple weeks after ECS gives us a break to get back and get things organized. What is Sharing is Caring, in case you've never heard of it? It is a live hands-on Teams call where we learn together. You may wonder, how do I navigate that gub? I'm just making words up again. GitHub hubs, hub of Gits. How do I navigate GitHub? It can be mysterious and challenging, and things like fork and branch and pull request are weird terms. We're going to demystify all of it. It's a safe space. There's no recording, which means that you can ask any and all questions that you want without fear of it going on record. As Vesa said, we're always all starting out in different paths in different places. Sometimes we're afraid to ask questions. This is the best place to come learn together, collaborate with other members of the community, and learn together. Now, it is also a great opportunity because guess what? That exact session counts as a contribution. Why does that matter? Because you will get recognized for that. Our recognition program is powered by Credly. In fact, it's been so successful, everybody. Credly is doing a white paper, a study on how successful you all have made this program. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You are amazing. We are super excited for that to come out in the next month or two. And we've got our new badges that you see flying out. Everybody's been raving and getting in on the Star Wars. And then you see right there up above next to community. What is that? That's right. It's that Warrior Horse list formatting brand new badge. And list formatting is a great way to get involved. This is a free program, everybody. We cover the cost. And all we need you to do is opt in. Give us your information at aka.ms/community/recognition, and we will absolutely track all the amazing work that you're doing. So many cool badges. We got even more in store for the rest of the year, special campaigns, end of the year fun. As one mentioned today, I think Peter Paul on LinkedIn said, this is great. It recognizes my work, but it's fun too. And that's what it should be about. We should be able to have fun with the technology, but be recognized for the work that you're doing. So thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. We love you. We appreciate you making this a world-class, best in class, as Credly called it, program available to everyone in the community. Vesa, back to you in the Finland studios.
Excellent. Thank you, David, on that one. Really, really great work. And I love the new horse image there as well. The list formatting looks really, really cool. Great work. Also for everybody who's contributed, so who've been actively involved and getting the Credly badge as well. Now, quick recap on the events. Build is happening this week. It's in person and online. So most of the sessions will be available at build.microsoft.com. Hopefully you did check out already the keynote yesterday. Really, really cool stuff over there. And if you didn't, the recording is available, of course, at build.microsoft.com. Really easy setup. Now, next week, a lot of us will be in Düsseldorf, in this side of the pond in Europe, because we have the European Collaboration Summit, which is actually a combination of 3 different communities. So there's the European Collaboration Summit 2025, European AI and Cloud Summit 2025, and European BSAP Summit 2025 happening all at the same time at Düsseldorf. And there's already, it's closing into the 3,000 attendees, and a lot of additional people there to talk about the latest and greatest across all of these different awesome topics. Now, then in June, there's the European Power Platform Conference. This is happening in Vienna from 16th to 19th of June. And the program is available. If you go AKMS EPPC, you'll find more details on this one. And there's a nice discount mentioned on the slide as well. So you can capture that quickly from there if you are interested on that one. A lot of great presenters on that conference as well in June in Vienna. That's followed then with TechCon 365 on the other side of the pond with Seattle, Atlanta, and Dallas happening in June June, August, and November. TechCon365.com for additional details. Then after that, there's the Power Platform Community Conference happening in Las Vegas in MGM Grand. That's the same location where the Microsoft 365 Community Conference happened earlier this month. Great venue, great location, and Vegas is pretty easy town to travel into, and airport is close by from all of the hotels, so it's a quite nice location for sure. And then after that, there's the Ignite happening in the week of November 17th. Not that much details yet on this one, except it's happening in San Francisco, California on that particular week. More details is going to be released for sure pretty soon. And then the last but not the least on this year on the big conferences is the ESBC, European SharePoint Conference. I think it's European SharePoint Azure Microsoft 365 Conference happening from 1st to 4th of December. The program and sessions from this one was just released. It's still missing the Microsoft details, but all of the community speakers, MVP speakers were just announced last week. So do check out that one as well. Now, on top of this, there's a lot of other community events happening all around the world, organized by user groups and individuals and or companies and so on, and all of these are listed in the communities.org URL. So please go there and check out all of the opportunities to meet other people within the community. And then we do have one special one, which was published yesterday. So we do have a additional Microsoft SharePoint Embedded City Tour happening in June as well. So this is happening between June 9th to June 13th. And this is really around learning the value of SharePoint Embedded, including how it actually relates on Copilot and what you can do with that, and get to start using the SharePoint Embedded within your application. Great opportunity to sign up as well. Check out AKMS SPA events as the URL. Now, this week for the news, the main news obviously are the announcements which are coming from Build. A lot of agent-focused information there. If you just want to focus on, okay, what are the news within the Build? There's the Book of News. The URL is also in the chat now. Thank you, David, on that one. The Book of News from Microsoft Build is basically listing all of the different announcements which were happening this week. It's a great way of staying up to date across different areas as well. Now, we also have our prompt library. So this is basically collecting and sharing your prompts and learnings, or seeing what kind of other prompts people are using when they're using Copilot and AI in general. And we do always announce the prompt of the week. And this week, the prompt of the week is coming from Ketchun Kim, and it's around roses. So it's basically a rose advisor agent, and really focusing on getting the details on what kind of location we are, and then the agent and it can actually provide guidance on how to get started on things. Interesting example on showcasing also that there are multiple other ways of using agents rather than just try to be information workers, specifics, or development topics. The agents can help on the day-to-day life as well, which is awesome. Now, before we go to the actual stars of the day, let's then go to the picture mode. I will start Camtasia. I will put ourselves in the together mode picture. So anybody who's interested, you can enable your camera and we will move into the camera mode. Let's see what is the pixelation isn't too bad today. I will still switch the not layout. Where do I actually do this? Why do they keep on changing all the time the buttons? I can't find the scene selection now. Oh, it's over here. So. And yes, even for Microsoft employees, it's a bit frustrating because the buttons keep on changing every single week. It is what it is, no can do. Now, we do have 50 seats in the room, so let's change the out. There we go. We're pixel perfect pretty much. So a few more rows if people want to enable the camera. Every now and then, it might take a while the camera to pop in. So let's wait a while, or it magically decides who gets to be in the camera as well. We do have 50 seats in the room. Let's wait a few more seconds. We still have time. Maybe we'll have to start recording. Oh, for one more person getting in. That's really good. And let me actually start the recording. We'll do 3, 2, 1. Let's do some hand waving, everybody. We'll share the GIF animation then in the social media. Thank you for being part of this call. Thank you for being part of the community. Awesome to see familiar faces and smiling faces. Always really good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. That's really good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you for that one. And then we are ready to go to the actual stars of the day. So today we have 2 demos done by Paolo and then Sudipta. So Paolo is going to talk about actions to custom engine agents. So first of all, what are the custom engine agents? And then and how do we add then actions to those as well? So that's a really cool demo. And then we have the SharePoint Hackathon winner in the SharePoint agents category, which is coming from Sudipta, and he's going to talk about that story right after the Paolo's demo. But Paolo, I guess you are good to go.
Yes, I am. Let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see the screen. Everything is good. Take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Vesa. So yes, today we're going to see how we can create custom actions or add custom actions to custom engine agents for Microsoft Teams. First of all, the content that we see today is part of a set of training that we have available in the Copilot Developer Camp, which is a website where you can find a bunch of training materials and then some lab that you can use to learn how to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot. Whether you are a maker and you want to use Copilot Studio, or whether you are a developer and you want to use Visual Studio Code or any other advanced developer tooling. We provide multiple pathways. Here you can find the link and the QR code to get access to the content of the Copilot Developer Camp. And in the content, you can find multiple options, multiple pathways, as I was telling you. There is one for makers and specifically for using Copilot Studio Agent Builder or Copilot Studio or the SharePoint agents. Or there is a couple of other pathways for developers, one about creating declarative agents, and another one about creating custom engine agents, which is actually the focus of today's demo. When we talk about custom engine agents, we actually talk about the capability to create agents which can be extended almost from any point of view. So you can provide your own foundational model, you can provide your own orchestrator, and you can provide, of course, your knowledge base and your custom actions and functionalities. And this will be the focus of today, specifically the custom actions. But before going there, I want to remind you that today is actually the last day of an initiative that we have, so that if you go through the Copilot Dev Camp pathways and you complete one of them, you will be able to get the blue badge for the pathway that you completed. If you complete all of them, all of the 3 pathways, you will get a black belt. And if you will also share with the community sample, you will get the Sample Sensei red belt to show off with the community your knowledge, your expertise, and what you learned through the camp. So that said, I think it is the right time to move to the actual content of the demo. So I will switch to my demo screen. And here we can see that, as I was telling you, a custom engine agent is an agent where you can fully customize the whole architecture of the solution. So you can have a custom foundational model, a custom orchestrator, and all of the customizable settings like knowledge base, custom actions, and autonomous capabilities. In this sample, I'm going to show you how you can extend an agent which has been designed to help the HR department to find candidates for specific roles. We have a set of resumes stored in an Azure storage account on Azure, and we use an Azure AI Foundry service instance using a custom model based on GPT-4o to process the content of these resumes, which are actually indexed by an Azure AI search index with a vector-based index, so that we can gracefully work with those resumes and ask the AI agent to search for candidates based on specific search criteria. So, for example, just using the chart playground of Azure AI Foundry, I can, for example, say, can you suggest me candidates with at least 5 years of experience in T-SQL? And this will go through all of the resumes that we have in our index. And we can see here we have an index stored in Azure AI Search. And in the index, we have a bunch of PDF documents with all of the data about the candidate, the potential candidates. Here we go. let me search for the content of this index, and we can see that we have a bunch of PDF documents which are stored on the blob storage that I was telling you. We have the vector index available for every single document, as well as the actual content in multiple languages for each and every resume. So now if I will trigger this prompt against this chat playground, I will be able to retrieve a list of suggested candidates which will match, who will match the search criteria that I provided. And specifically here, I just one with 5 years of experience in SQL Server development. Cool. But now let's say that I want to make this model and this RAG data, which is coming from the resumes, available to an agent that I want to use inside the user experience of Teams. And here I am. Here I have our Career Genie. In Career Genie, I already wanted to greet the agent, and so you see I said hello and I got a nice greeting message from the agent. I can now play with the same approach as before. So for example, I can say, now can you suggest candidates with good experience in .NET, just for the sake of it, okay? Let me try this prompt. By triggering this prompt, again, I will rely on the same Azure Foundry instance that I have in the backend and on the same model that I showed you previously in the chat playground, and I can get back a list of hypothetical candidates matching my criteria. And as you can see, I can also dig into them and have citations to dig into the actual content of their resumes. Now, what I'm interested into is to have access to a set of custom actions which will enrich the experience of my users. So, for example, the HR department folks will be able to say, okay, let me have a look at these candidates. And let's say that, for example, Isaac Talbot is the one I'm looking for. So I can simply chat with my agent and say, okay, cool, please add Isaac Talbot the list of .NET developers. By providing this prompt to the agent, I will actually trigger an action, so some custom code that will run inside my agent, which will process the request of the user, will create on the fly an in-memory list of candidates with name .NET developers, and will add this candidate Isaac Talbot to that list. Now, let's say that as an HR department member, I am also interested in Anthony Ivanov. So I, again, can use natural language to say, okay, please add also Anthony. I'm a very bad short memory, so was Anthony Ivanov, sorry. Anthony Ivanov to the same list of Isaac Talbot. You see that now I'm not providing the actual name of the list, but I'm just providing an information that the LLM will be able to process to find that the list of Isaac Talbot is the .NET developers one. So Anthony Ivanov will be added to the same list. And this is something really cool, aside from the actions themselves, but this is just to show you the power of AI and of the LLM under the cover. Now, I have my list. I have a couple of candidates in the list of .NET developers. Let's say that I'm ready to set up some interviews with them to find out who is the best one for the role I'm looking for. So I can simply say, again, to my agent, send the list to HR. And this will trigger yet another custom action for my custom engine agent, which will rely on Microsoft Graph to send by email the list of .NET developers to the HR department. And in fact, if I will reach to my mail account, we should be able to see soon that there will be an email in the outbox in the sent items, which will send the list of candidates to the HR department. And even if it will not show, and here it is, okay, so we don't need to use the plan B. Here you can see I have my email, which was just sent to the target HR team with the candidate that I was looking for and that I selected and added to my list. So this is to give you an idea of the functionality. Now let's see how I implement it and how you can implement it as well. Because if you will go to the Copilot Dev Camp and you will follow the instructions step by step, you can do exactly the same in your own dev environment. So Let me switch to Visual Studio Code. And here I have the custom engine agent that we were running, and which I creating using the Microsoft 365 Agents Toolkit, which is actually the new name of the Teams Toolkit. So we used to call it Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. Now the new name is Microsoft 365 Agents Toolkit. It was just announced yesterday at Build. So with this tool, I created a custom engine agent. This one is an agent targeting Microsoft Teams. So under the cover, it is based on the Teams AI library. And if we look into the implementation, we have already seen in previous demos in this series of calls how you can implement the very basic functionalities of this agent. But now I want to focus on the actions. And here I have, just for the sake of being all on the same page, we have our agent, which does have a basic behavior in the prompts chat subfolder in the sk prompt.txt file, where we provide the initial behavior, the initial imprinting to our agent. This is a career specialist helping the HR department. But we also have an additional folder in the prompts folder that I created in order to instruct the agent that when I want to handle my actions about managing the list of candidates, there is a specific set of instructions that I want to apply to the agent. And specifically, the instructions are always share, you are a career specialist, you are a friendly professional, always share the list in bullet points. And the rules are you create a list when the user asks explicitly to do that. You can add candidates to list and so on and so forth. As you can see here, I have a set of rules which will give and define the behavior of the agent when it comes to handling the lists of candidates. Plus, we have the information that at the state level of our agent, we want to have a variable, an in-memory variable, to hold all of the lists of candidates for our conversation. And this will become handy soon. Then we have a JSON file where we defined all of the actions that we want to make available to the user. And for each and every action, we have the definition of a name, a description, which will be the one used by the LLM to understand the intent of the user and to define if the prompt provided by the user targets a specific action in the list of actions. So we have an action to create a list, we have an action to delete a list, to add candidates to a list, to remove candidates, as well as to send the list via email. So these are the actions that I defined in this JSON file. And for each of them, we also have the definition of the input arguments so that the engine of our agent can be aware of how to behave when consuming these actions. Of course, these actions also need an implementation. And that's why we have a TypeScript file where I actually define the real behavior behind the scenes. So we have a set of functions in TypeScript where we can manage the list of candidates, we can set the list of candidates, we can ensure that we have a list of candidates already available in memory, and if not, we create the new list as an empty list, and so on and so forth. And as you can notice here we work with the state of the agent, and we access the conversation.lists state variable, which is the one we defined in the instructions for the monologue prompts. So we have the JSON definition, we have the actual implementation of the business logic behind the scenes, and then in the app.ts file that we have seen already in the previous episode of this series of demos, we have the actual implementation of the agent. And in this one, we have to provide to the agent the capability to understand if we are chatting with the agent just for the sake of interacting with the back-end model to search in the RAG data for candidates, or if we want to actually start a conversation which is targeting the management of lists. So here we say that in the action planner of our agent, we want to choose the prompt based on a function that I defined. And in this function, I simply say, since this is a custom engine agent, and since I define the orchestrator as I want, I simply say, okay, if in the text provided by the user in the prompt, there is the word list, let's make the assumption that we want to actually work with the instructions and with the behavior related to handling the list of candidates. And so go for the monologue section of the prompts. Otherwise, go for the chat one, I would say the default one, and just handle the prompts searching for candidates through the resumes stored in the Azure search. Then we also have inside this agent the configuration of the authentication section so that we can rely on the Microsoft Authentication Library, and we can get an access token to read who the user is so that we can greet the user, but we can also send mail. As you can see, mail.send is one of the permission scope that I'm requesting while getting an access token. Well, I need that permission because I want to send an email to the HR department. And in fact, just below that, we have the registration, a little bit below, we have the registration of all of the actions that we saw in the TypeScript file before. So we have, for example, the action to create a list, and in there we ensure the list provided by the user by name, and we create the list if it is needed. Then we can delete the list if we don't want to have it anymore. We can add candidates to the list, and here we simply handle the array of candidates and we set the new value for a specific target list, as well as we do the same when we remove a candidate. And when we send the list to the HR department, we rely on the send lists action that we have seen before, which internally will simply use Microsoft Graph. Let me show you right here, sorry. We will rely on Microsoft Graph. It will, first of all, create the actual content of the email, which is really not rocket science. We simply build the HTML of the email. And then using the Graph SDK client, we initialize the client with the token that we've got during the authentication phase of the agent, and we use the /me/sendMail endpoint of Microsoft Graph to send the actual email to the HR department. So, as you have just seen, in a custom engine agent, you can rely on a custom foundational model, on custom reg data like the resumes that I have indexed in the Azure AI search service, but you can also provide your own custom code, and you can add your own logic, including eventually consuming Microsoft Graph or any other third-party API in a secure way, using open authorization and being able to enrich the overall experience of your end users, providing advanced capabilities. I think that's it for me, Visa. Thanks for watching this demo. I hope you enjoyed it, and go to the Copilot Dev Camp to dig into this one and to just recreate it on your own environment. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Paolo, on that one. That was the last demo of a series of 11 demos related on Copilot extensibility, cross-declarative agents, and Copilot Studio and custom engine agents. So it's a great transition actually then to the most simplistic agents and how we can actually do those as well. So let's transition to Sudipta, but at the same time, Paolo, really appreciate it. Massive set of cool demos. The whole team has been doing the whole spring. I think this has been super useful for everybody to learn what we can do with Copilot and how to create agents and all of that stuff. And that's a series of demos from Paolo, Bob, and Aisha throughout the last months. Cool. Sudipta, I think we are good to transition to your screen. How's audio?
Thanks, Visa. And thanks, Paolo, for the great demo that we saw with the Copilot, with the custom actions. I will share my screen, and we can start.
And screen sharing. Let's wait a while. There we go. I can see the screen. Thank you. Take it away.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone, for joining this session. This is a great honor to present our hackathon entry that we participated for the SharePoint hackathon. That was greatly encouraged by Vesa. I can tell that he promoted this hackathon quite a lot, and it was a great experience for us to participate and to explore the solutions into the different categories that we saw, and there were some great submissions that we saw in the hackathon as well. So out of the different sections that was categories that was provided to us, so we started looking into the category of the SharePoint agents, because currently in Capgemini we are focusing a lot of things, not only from the SharePoint perspective, but also like the Copilot perspective. And SharePoint agent is something quite new in which we are investing quite a lot. And we started to understand that how SharePoint agents can be created quite easily, how things can be made much more easier from the purpose of the client. So that's how we wanted to explore in the hackathon itself, right? So this hackathon was participated by 4 team members of from our organization. So Kuntal, Pritam, Snehashish, they are from India. They participated along with me, because of our combined experience of SharePoint and Power Platform. So we thought that we will be bringing some of the Power Platform concepts as well. So that I will show in the demo as well. So I won't spend too much time on this, and we'll go directly into what we created and from the SharePoint agents perspective, and why we took that case study. So one of the things that we encountered like day to day while working with like organization, like financial organizations, primarily like insurance or banking, for in this case it's much more from the insurance perspective, that there's a lot of activities that is done even now. Those are kind of like manual, and lot of documents are involved. So you can understand that it's not only about creating the policies, but also the claims, then the risk assessment. So there are a lot of documentation that goes through the process of the underwriting as well as from the operations perspective. So we wanted to explore that how easily that SharePoint agent created within the SharePoint site itself can actually minimize all these manual activities. And we started creating the SharePoint agent, but then we understood that it would be much more it would make much more sense in a way if we actually target the SharePoint agents. Targeting in the sense that we will always have different sets of business users, right, who will be working in a SharePoint site in the organization, and they will be interested only a specific set of data. So if that is a segregation that we are looking, in which people will be interested only on a specific set of the data and they're working, then the agent should also be very specific rather than bringing information from different places. So for that reason, we created like 2 agents in the SharePoint. One is called the Policy Guru, and one is called Claims Buddy. So Policy Guru was primarily designed to equip the operations team, who will be working closely with the underwriters, who will be helping in automating or providing the information that will be required for creating some policies for the customers. Whereas a claims buddy is an agent which will actually work together along with the claims team, in which it can look into the claims that has been submitted by the customers. It can do certain checks as well with the standard wordings that we are having, that whether the claims are correct or not, and then it can give certain decisions on the documents that has been received. And definitely, if we are looking into this kind of automations, we would see that there will be a reduction of the human effort. And what we understood from talking with the businesses as well, that we can easily reduce at least 15 to 20% of their manual activities in a day, which is quite a lot if you think from that perspective. And since these agents can be also used in Teams perspective, so we can actually share these agents in Teams. So logically, you can actually use the Teams channel, Teams chat, in which you will be able to do a conversation with this agent, just like the conversation you are doing with like any agents that you are having in the Teams. So that's a very powerful capability in which we are surfacing the information of the SharePoint, and we are actually collaborating as well, right? So I will move into our demo. So let me go back. Okay, so this is the SharePoint site. So this is a very standard team site which we created for our SharePoint hackathon. This is having certain capabilities in which you will be able to create a policy request, a claims request, and there are certain details that you can access from the resources perspective. One of the challenges that we faced, and that I will come shortly, that SharePoint agents, as of now, it cannot read directly from the SharePoint lists, right? So let's say that if someone is raising a policy request or a claims request, we are using SharePoint list to capture those information, but then how those information will be used across from the perspective of a SharePoint agent. For that, what we did, we took help of Power Automate workflows, and from Power Automate workflows, we captured the information from the SharePoint list, and we created our documents out of it, because those documents can be fed as a knowledge repository to the SharePoint agents that we have created. That's how we went through from the solution perspective, and then we realized as well that going forward, that if the documents can be created from a SharePoint list, then it can also be used to create documents, let's say, from the Dataverse table. So the basically there are different things that we can do going forward, just not restricted within the SharePoint environment, right? One of the things that I mentioned, that information is very much important from the perspective of the SharePoint agents, because there's a declarative agents that we are creating. So information architecture is something that we took care very seriously in this perspective, because we wanted to make sure that we are capturing this information in a correct way, right? So one of the things that I wanted to showcase, that we are creating a library called, let's say, client documents. It's a it's having these document sets. So these document sets are basically a document set of a client, and then these document sets are having different subfolders, which are having the claims documents or the identity documents or the policy documents that got generated, right? So all these informations are segregated in a way, and along with that, if we go into the site contents, we would see that there are libraries that has been created, which provides like claims processing guidance. So basically, there are documents that has been created in which it can provide like how to process a claim that is related to, let's say, car insurance or something regarding travel insurance, a claim that has been raised by a client. So we have created certain libraries like this, and I will show you like why we have done this going forward. So let me open the agent. So let's say that I want to just edit this agent. So claims body is the first agent that I wanted to show you. So if you see that we are describing the purpose of the agent, that it's going to, like I said, that it's going to assess the claims team for the processing of the claims. It will review the claims. So we are giving a lot of instructions from the descriptions perspective, like what it's supposed to do. And from the sources perspective, we see that there are certain sources that we have targeted. So this agent that we have created for the claims purposes, for the claims team, is looking into only specific libraries that is relevant for them. It's not going to look into the libraries that is much more required for the operations perspective, let's say. So that's how we grounded the information. So grounding is very important from the purpose of how we are going to get the maximum benefit out of these agents, right? And like I said, the behavior and everything that we wanted that claims buddy should be doing. So we have described all this quite vividly in this behavior section, so that we know like what are the things claims buddy can do. And we have given certain starter prompts as well, like comparing the claims and validated the claim in details, getting some guidance, which are the common things that we know that claims team will be doing. And similarly, we have done for the policy guru as well. If we see, And again, if you notice that it is looking into certain other document libraries which the claims body is not looking, and again, that is how the segregation is happening, right? And because these are the agents that has been created in the SharePoint site level, so you can access this wherever you want from the SharePoint site. And like I said, that one of the most powerful thing that I noticed is about copying this link into the Teams, and basically we can just share this agent in the Teams chat and we can have the conversation there, right? So let's take an example that we wanted to discuss with Policy Guru, something about client that we are having. So let's pick up some of the clients that we are having right now. So we'll pick up someone. Okay, so it's looking into the site, and it's giving me all the information. And I can also ask about certain things about, let's say, that what is that policy is all about. So I want to understand, like, what is this policy all about? So yeah, so it is just giving me all the information that is required regarding the policies that has been issued to David that I can see, and also the claims processes that is relevant for the policy that has been issued. And it can also be used for doing some kind of risk assessment. So if I want, I can look into the profile of David to understand whether he is an eligible person for getting, let's say, a travel insurance. If you see, it is looking into, it's trying to look into the whatever information that we're having, and it is trying to determine that depending on the age, depending on the purpose of the travel, the location, etc., whether travel insurance is applicable for David, right? So similarly, if we can switch into the claims body, and we can compare the claims, or we can discuss about some of the claims that is already present. Can you validate the claim submitted with ID? Let's take one of the claims, CLM. Okay, so it is about to give me all the details about the claim and also the associated policies that is associated with this claim. So we know from this claim that what kind of policy it is, and if we go into the details of the policies, we would know about the policy wordings as well. So using the claims body, we would be able to just determine very quickly that whether the claims is a valid claim or not, whether this policy is capturing the exclusions and the inclusions as well that has been raised from the claims perspective, and can help the claims team to achieve the results much more faster than they would have done if they are looking into each of the documents manually day in, day out, right? So yeah, so that's how we wanted to showcase the power of the SharePoint agents, declarative agents, in the hackathon's purposes. And like I said, that they are very powerful, even though they are declarative. And if we are able to do some kind of modifications using the Power Platform, let's say some of the capabilities that we just demonstrated, that SharePoint list can be converted into a document which can be fed into the knowledge repository, I think the SharePoint agents can go a long way going forward, right? Yeah, so I think that is from my end, Fesa.
Excellent. Thank you, Sudipta. Before you stop sharing, let's just keep that one in there. Just kind of a few things, because we do have a few minutes time. What Sudipta was talking about, there's also the extensibility on SharePoint agents getting transformed to be Copilot Studio agents. So that's in the pipeline and roadmap. One of the cool things is obviously the metadata. Right now, we were discussing that in the chat as well. Right now, the metadata is not yet there in the agent information, but it's planned to get there for sure. So you kind of see see right now the first version of the SharePoint agents. So this is super early start. It's going to get better and better and better. And then the final thing to call out, like Sudipta was explaining, the instructions for the agents are really important thing. You can really change the agent behavior by providing a bit more sophisticated or a longer instructions, how it should be behaving, what is the role and everything else. So in some of these calls, we've been going through the practices on that. There is documentation out there as well. How do you provide clear instructions for LLM, how it should be behaving and how it should be focusing on things, what is the role of the agent and all of that. All of those obviously apply also for SharePoint agents as well. But we'll get more guidance on that one, more features, all of that is evolving in the future. But cool, thank you Sudipta on that one. Really awesome demo. And again, it won the SharePoint Agent Hackathon category is as part of the global SharePoint Hackathon, which was happening in March this year. So congratulations one more time on that one. We do have a few of these actually coming up in the future as well on the Hackathon winners, because we want to showcase the best of the Hackathon submissions as well. So people are definitely interested in seeing all of this stuff live. In this case, there was a lot of value placed on the fact that we are building or creating a real business cases with SharePoint agents, as Sudipta was actually showing. So really cool stuff as well. Thank you for that. And thank you, Paolo, one more time on the demo. Now, next week, we do have a really busy call, which is also going to get broadcasted live from ECS. ECS meaning the European Collaboration Summit. We will be live on the Expo area. So if you are in ECS, you can actually see us live at 7 p.m. on Central European time. So that's the time in Düsseldorf when it's 8 a.m. Pacific time. The presenters for next week will be remote, so they will not be on-site at ECS, but the hosting will happen in on-site. So it's going to be this interesting hybrid layout. But we'll have Sebastian talking about the declarative agents with type spec, and this is something which went preview yesterday as part of the announcements of Microsoft 365 Agent Toolkit, and he's going to actually share what that means in practice on next Tuesday. Sarah Critchley is going to talk about the introduction to Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. That was announced in Ignite, went to GA actually yesterday as well, unless I'm completely mistaken. So she's going to talk about that one next Tuesday. And then we do have a SharePoint Hackathon winner in the custom SharePoint portal design category. And that's going to be covered by Richard and Malika from To Lead company. So really cool to see that one next week for sure. It's going to be a busy call, and we're going to keep the pace to make sure that everybody has all of these three presenters have enough time to showcase what they have created. In the meanwhile, we do have our Microsoft 365 Power Platform community Discord server. We do have more than 2,800, I think it's more than 2,900 already members there. You can use this as one of the channels to actually engage with other people within a community. So if you are in Discord, great opportunity to have a discussion with other people in the community, ask questions, help others with their questions as well in a one centralized location. AKMS Community Discord is the URL to get there. We're always also looking for feedback. AKMS Community Calls feedback is the form, and this would be highly beneficial for us if you can fill in always the form every now and then. So because that gives us a lot of insights on what works, what doesn't work, and also it gives us some numbers which are useful for us to keep on justifying these calls in the future for our leadership. So if you like the calls, please let us know also using this form. But that's it for today. The recording will be available within 24 hours on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel at AKMS Community YouTube. You want to subscribe there today. We will share updates on social media when that's happening, and the next call is in 27th of May, coming live from ECS, like we covered. All of these calls are available from AKMS Community Calls URL. You can download the URL recurrent invites and then join on those calls which you are interested in joining. But that's it for today. Thank you one more time, Sudipta and Paolo. Really awesome demos today. And thanks everybody for a lovely chat. Again, a lot of excitement and discussions in the chat. Always good to see that. And a nice to get a more picture as well. But we'll be back within a week with this call. And this week, by the way, we do have Power Platform monthly community call happening tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And we also have 3 community demos coming up on Thursday at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So do check out all of these calls which are happening during this week. But that's it for now. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Cheers. Bye-bye.